joining us again. So once again, I have a beautiful soul that is joining us today. And I am going to introduce her now, and then we're going to get started because offline, we've actually been chatting this whole time. There's so much beauty and love and energy that she emits. So we're going to get to that. So today I have with you Michelle Howe. So Michelle, who goes by the name of Mia, she's a Reiki Master, a certified life coach, and a daily meditator. Mia has always believed in the body's ability to heal itself, even when her anxiety began in college. She has been a published freelance writer for many years now and has written her own book called Breath of Life, which is about her journey through anxiety, depression, and agoraphobia. And she is in the process of completing her second book, an expansion on her journey of healing recovery from the agoraphobia and other traumas. Michelle, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Of course. So like I just said in the introduction, you and I have just been chatting it up with the whole place. But in order for people to know more about you and where you came from, could you share with us just a little bit of how you actually became known and familiar and took you all the way to Reiki Master? And how was that story for you?
Yeah. Well, Reiki came into my life really serendipitously. I had been dating someone in 2016 who, ultimately fear is what led me away from or to leave it. And because he was piquing my anxiety. And anyway, we stayed in touch and, on a friend basis. And then we started to see each other again on occasion, once or twice, at least twice. And I sort of thought we were getting back together. And at lunch one day, he mentioned going on vacation. And I'd always wanted to go to a all-inclusive, resort. And that's what he mentioned. And I was really excited. Anyway, about 2-3 weeks later, it turned out he was off in Mexico with another woman. And so that was really, I felt betrayed, obviously. It was really hard for me. I remember, I was laying in bed, just curled up in a ball crying. And, my gut and my womb were just in so much trauma. I was so upset and hurt. But that was my catalyst. That was my reawakening to all the gifts that I had discovered earlier that had been kind of squelched. And I know our time is short, so I didn't go into, any of that. But so then after that happened, I went out on dating sites or just one. And I ended up meeting someone who, lo and behold, turned out to be his best friend from high school. Mm-hmm. And just crazy coincidence. And I still don't know why to this day he was meeting me, because he was married. And at that meeting, after that conversation, we discovered our mutual connection. He gave me his wife's phone number and contact information. And we all ended up having dinner one night. And she asked me, she said, have you heard of Reiki? And I said, no. And she explained to me that she had had some back injuries and it had really helped her. And she said, some people don't believe in it, but she said, it really helped me. And so that began my journey. And it was just kind of ironic to me that out of so much pain and a painful situation, somebody pointed me in that direction, right, which ultimately has led me really to feeling the best I have in my whole life right now. And I'm just very, very grateful. I started my journey then. I went and met with the woman she recommended to me. And then I looked around and started to find classes, and I went through my Reiki 1 attunement in 2018. And then I did Holy Fire Reiki 1 and 2 in 2018. And then in 2019, I did Reiki 2 and became a Reiki Master. So nice. It's been...
That was an interesting connection through your way of being introduced, but that's the point of life. Like, it doesn't matter even how we get there, although our stories are sometimes like, how did this person end up showing me here, or how did I get this? Like you said, you don't even know why he was on that site, but it was meant for you to meet her to introduce you to something that is going to make you feel so good.
Right.
And
even to this day, I I struggled a lot with that ex relationship because he stayed in touch for a while, and I know I should have just severed all communication. And I tried actually. He would call me from other numbers so that I didn't recognize it and stuff. But now I finally got to a point where I'm just grateful that it all happened, because if it hadn't,
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I guess I might have found Reiki another way, but I'm fully convinced this was how I was supposed to find out about it. So
Yeah. It's funny you said that, because I had a conversation with my dad past weekend, and we were talking about something else, and he looked at me and he was like, but the life you've had and all the developments, you were meant to have them. And if you wouldn't have gone that way and you would have gone another way and you were still meant to have them, they would have showed up in a different way, but you would have still had them. And I looked at him and I was like, yeah, absolutely right. And we were just talking about something mundane. Like, I don't even remember what it was. It was something mundane. And I was like, totally true in all aspects. And especially when we believe in energy and spirituality, like we do, and especially on this show, that word serendipity, is it really serendipity, or is it really planned, or is it our choice? And regardless of what it is, it works out, even if sometimes we don't see it. And I'm very open and vulnerable with everybody that I speak to. I don't hide my BS. I will sometimes spiral and I won't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And then 3 months later, I look back and I'm like, well, not that I want to go through that again. So universe, change it, because I don't want to have to suffer and spiral to go. But doing those things led me to, I don't know, meeting the right person at the right time, like that, all that things that we hear, it does happen just like that. Like you met the person that introduced you to Reiki, however it was going to be. Okay, so I have a question for you. Yeah. Let's begin for people that don't know what Reiki is. How would you be able to explain what Reiki is, if you can?
Yeah, well, Reiki means life force energy, and it was first created by a man named Yusui in Japan, and it was brought over to America by a counterpart of his from Japan, I believe. And Reiki is, when I use the word attunement, that's a Reiki master in flowing the energy to you and clearing other energies that might be negative or toxic or whatever. After you have your first attunement, they say, well, first of all, drink a lot of water, and then 10 days you're going to have a cleanse. And you go through emotions, and it's powerful. Mm-hmm. But I also, to those people who are afraid of it, because there are people who are afraid of it or they think it's wrong, I say, it's really prayer. It's energy. It's just energy in a different form and a different way of describing it. And so when you're sending Reiki or giving Reiki, you're a vehicle for that energy to be transmitted, and that's all you are. And the more you can keep yourself out of the way and just be guided and listen to whatever you receive, the better the experience for both sides, So.
I dropped my pen. I was going to write that. Keep yourself out of the way. Isn't that okay? We're going to make a bumper sticker and stamp it on our heads, because in anything, we are usually the ones that get
in our own way. I'm very good at that.
Yeah, I couldn't even say it. Yeah, it's like, anyways, okay. So no, and I love the way that you explained it, because yeah, and like when your friend introduced you, some people believe in it, some people don't. I think more days. So I've been in Reiki, God, I don't even know for how long already. I'm also a Reiki master and the whole thing. And it was hard to explain 15, 20 years ago.
Yes, I bet.
Now it's more like, okay, more people have heard of it and more people have heard of like different alternative and energy healing sources. So it's not as crazy. But I think as human beings, it's just logical that some people, because they can't see it, they don't understand how it works. And for me, at least, and I'm going to ask you if that's been your experience, because for me, a lot of people, when they say, I don't call myself a Reiki master, because to be honest, I don't follow rules. at all. And I know with Reiki, it's you do this and this and this and this and okay, but my guides and my angels kind of throw me in there and they do whatever it is that they do. So I just say energy healing because it's like
Right.
simpler. But the thing is, like people can relate to a massage. You feel the massage because the person is like touching you. They're like, how is this going to work if you're not even touching me? Has that been your experience as well? Like, have you had skeptics completely ask you, why or how this works or no?
You know, there are people who are skeptical. I've done long distance Reiki for friends, who are kind of like, and they're like, well, yeah, I felt something, but I firmly believe that the more open you are to it, the more you'll receive, because our thoughts create our experience. And so if someone's going into it with the mindset of, oh, this is total baloney, I don't believe in it.
Right.
Are they going to have any experience? Not the kind that they could, most definitely. So I haven't had total resistance other than, there's one person, I guess, who has been in total resistance. Never got to do a session with her because, she isn't open to it. But, I don't debate it or anything. It is what it is. I know my truth experientially. I know I mentioned what my Reiki Master, shared with me during one of my sessions that led me to even more healing about past life regression. And
Yes.
So, to me, experience is the most valid teacher and source. So, and what I experience might not be the same as you, and that's fine. I respect your experience too. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. So.
Right. No, I am just going to listen to our own recording and quote you on a whole bunch of different things.
Oh my goodness, you make me sound so evolved.
Hey, who says you're not? Okay, so
thank you.
We did off camera talk about it. If we can talk about your past life experience and how that actually happened and went about. And okay, I'll let you talk about that and then I'll say what I'm trying to say now. Because it'll make more sense to the audience.
Yeah. Well, I was in a session with my Reiki Master, and she explained to me that she saw me as a 16th century nun in a German convent, and I'd been abused. And that was just kind of the tip of the iceberg, because after, I mean, up until this point, past lives and all of that whole aspect of our soul evolution was just kind of, I was like the skeptic. I was like, I don't know. And I hadn't given it a whole lot of consideration. I wasn't convicted. I wasn't against. I was just, I don't know. Well, once that happened and when she told me that, I had another experience, and I wouldn't say it was out of body, but I had a very visual experience of something that happened to me in a past life. And it was very real. And by that time I just knew my body was telling me,
right,
this is what happened to you. And, for those who, say, you don't need to go back and revisit the experience. I feel like to heal the body, for certain people, you do. For me, I did. That's what I know I needed. And I'm sure that's why I was blessed to receive that information. So I'm just very grateful. All of the things that I experienced with agoraphobia became clear to me. They made sense as to A plus B before this incarnation plus
right.
C that happened here equals blah. I was on anxious energy overload. Yeah. For a long time. So.
And this is what I was going to say, and I let you say your story. And that's the thing. Everybody can go into a Reiki healing session, and it can be different for everybody. And the beauty of what I find in energy healing and Reiki and just any kind of healing your own soul, your own consciousness, and your own physical body knows what you need. And in that instance, for example, it, whatever it was, whoever decided to let that past life be seen, did that in order for you to heal something that is actively affecting your life. And I think not a lot of people will correlate Reiki to that. Many people may have, like the girl who began or did a Reiki for her back pain, who introduced you. A lot of people sometimes do Reiki for that, or to calm down, but in your experience, and I know a lot of people who have had way different experiences, it's what each of us needs. And I think that's the beauty of healing. We don't know sometimes what it is we need to heal until it's presented to us. And then we're like, well, that makes sense.
Exactly. Like I didn't understand why, why I was, when my agoraphobia was in full force, I didn't understand why I had so much clenching in my throat and in my chest. And my past life experiences confirmed and helped me understand that. I had a rope around my neck, and so it carries over. And so it's just incredible to me that, and so life affirming that you can put all the pieces together and, hopefully you get them all in place and you become whole. And that's really where I feel I'm at right now. I think I've, hopefully got all the pieces in place. I keep trying.
Well,
but maybe, we don't always ever completely arrive or heal.
well, I was going to say something similar. It's not that we never heal. It's just we keep evolving. And it's just like school. Like sometimes I tell people, it's kind of like grade school. Like you graduate and you did all these things in elementary, but now you get to start all over in middle school. And then you have to go through that. And then you do that all over in high school. So we're always growing and evolving. But I think there's a lot of things that even heal that we don't even notice we had.
Yeah, right. Totally agree. And our subconscious knows. And sometimes the body will receive what it needs and you don't even really know you needed it. Right. And it's amazing. When I meditate nowadays, I meditate daily, usually twice a day. And back when I was really depressed, at one point I had ECTs. Do you know what those are?
That is, no.
Electroconvulsive therapy.
Okay.
It's not very common.
Okay.
But and I believe that really affected my wiring. And I can tell the difference now between when I put on my mask and I hear close your eyes. I can tell, the difference in how it feels and how my mind has healed in my wiring and stuff. So and Reiki has a lot to do with that, because that was kind of like the foundation to getting me to feeling good enough to put in the effort to meditate.
Yeah,
So
nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
So the other thing we talked about was the Holy Fire.
Yeah.
So I came across Holy Fire about a year ago. I had never heard of it. Can you tell us more? Like, where did it come from? What is it? Is it different? What exactly is Holy Fire Reiki?
Yeah. So from what I understand, in 2014, a woman named Janice Jones was in a session, and I'm looking at my book here because I'm not an expert, but she was given a message that there's a more refined, higher level consciousness healing energy.
Okay.
That was being identified, and I believe she's the one who named it Holy Fire.
Okay.
And then she was given a symbol.
Okay.
And so the Holy Fire symbol is in addition to the known Usui ones, the long distance, the Shakure, the Seiheki, and the etc.
Right.
So
okay. But is it okay, so I'm going to ask and then I'm going to comment on my experience. Is it just kind of like an additional symbol, what makes it the Holy Fire, or is it done a different way, the Reiki session?
There's no difference. You're still receiving energy and you're still a conduit. You don't do the session different or anything like that. It's really just, it's considered, in a way, I think it's considered like Reiki 2.0. It's a higher level upgrade
Okay.
of energy and a new symbol.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, and the reason I wanted to ask, one, so we could all learn about it. But second, my experience with Holy Fire Reiki was more of like, I felt it was more like a meditation. So the way I was at a center, and it was a few of us, there was like 3 or 4 of us, and they read, because I remember they have like sheets of it, they read a Holy Fire meditation. And I felt, I mean, I'm good at connecting and feeling, and, so I could feel that I was connected to somewhere. But when it ended, I was like, oh, that was it. Like, I felt it was a connection through a meditation. So I never knew that there was another symbol involved. So does everybody do it differently? Are there meditations involved in Holy Fire? Was it just the way the center was doing it? How does that work?
So my experience, what I understand, the Usui Reiki 1 and 2, you get the attunement, right? And the master, she, anoints you with oil there. She says these predefined, I would say, prayers, when she gives you the spirit, and it's called an attunement. Holy Fire is different in that when you're receiving the spirit, you're doing it through a meditation instead of the master doing something. You just receive it through the meditation. And then you can always go back and do upgrades and, go through the meditations again, or have attunements again, if you want. And I like to do that every so often, just to, keep the energy fresh and aligned, so to speak. I would like to do another one soon, but that's my understanding and my experience of the difference. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, totally. Because like I said, I didn't know that there was another symbol for it. And I just went through the meditation. So I was like, okay, I don't know what this Holy Fire is, because I didn't see a difference. But right now, when you said, through the meditation, you receive it, okay, I got it, because that is exactly what I experienced. I know that through the meditation, I did feel a way bigger expansion than just in any other kind of guided meditation. So I knew there was something happening. I just didn't understand it, because those are the only ones that I had heard of doing it. So that's been my only experience. I'm like, I wonder if it's just them.
Oh, I see. Well, no, the Reiki. So I have all my books, and the Rand person from International Center for Reiki Training, who does the Usui manual, the purple one. He does this one too. So it's not just the center that you went to that was doing Holy Fire. This is it's a bona fide, legit, considered like a second level of Reiki.
Okay. So. Yeah. And that was the other thing. I don't know if it applied to the same Reiki or it was like a different branch somebody came up with. Yeah. So I was totally lost. So thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah, you're welcome.
No,
I'm not an expert by any means. And there'll probably be, well, I don't know. There'll be people who point out something I said wrong, but that's fine.
Or not. Remember who you're talking to. Even if we recorded and we're gonna put this up, I will still call you out. No. Okay, so
you're so fun.
So with Reiki and with just, let's say, energy healing, where do you see this? And I'm just throwing this out there. Where do you see this evolving to? And to what degree do you see, let's say, energy healing in general? When it comes to spirituality, how do you see this being applied, or how would you like to see this applied, like in different ways?
That is a great question. I'm really glad you asked that. Well, I, as a life coach and a Reiki master, one of my deep longings is to see people heal. Because especially since COVID, we've had so much anxiety. We've had so much everything, the situations in the world right now, the way things are, all of our institutions are broken, in my opinion. And that causes stress for all of us. And, so healing is what I long for a collective community of people. And, I think it could be a really good tool, to help people find that. But the thing that I am well aware of is that people have to be aware that they need healing, and then they have to choose to have healing. And you cannot force that on anyone, nor would I want to. There are many people in my life right now that I wish I could, get them to do a life coaching session or a Reiki session. But I won't force them.
Right.
Because it's not going to help anyway, unless you really want to help yourself and you really want to change and you really want a better life. Because I don't know if philosophy is a good word, but my feeling about why we're here is to become the best version of ourselves, and to help other people do that too. And that's why I work so hard at overcoming my anxiety, my depression, my agoraphobia. That's why I write about it. And I also write about it to help other people who are having the same issues, and hopefully maybe I can inspire them and give them hope, because there were plenty of instances throughout this journey where it was pretty dark. And, I lost my boyfriend in college to a very unexpected death, and I thought I was going to marry him. And so, I understand the dark places, and anybody who pulls themselves out or seeks the tools to pull themselves out or heal is, I admire that. And so I have to try and give myself credit too for doing that. Not very good at it, but I'm learning.
Not good at taking the credit, but good at doing it.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
And it's hard on all of us, and just everybody has their own life experience, and everybody has gone through different things. But I actually interviewed with somebody yesterday, and she says with her people, she talks to them and introduces them, like her audience, she calls them warriors. She's like, they're inner warriors. Everything that we do, we are fighting against ourselves, upping our level, doing this, because in truth, it's you versus you. It's, do you want to stay where you are, or do you want to get better? Do you want to stay in the trauma, or do you want to heal? But it's what you said a little while ago. Nobody can do it, number one, for you. I'm going to say that one. But two, we can't impose this on anybody. If they don't want help, we're nobody to enforce that on them. The only thing we can do is help ourselves, and then maybe one day be there for whoever asks out. And I think that's the beauty with like the energy healing. Maybe and this is the way I see it. If somebody comes to me for energy healing work, perfect, of course. But I need to work myself on my own energy every single day.
Yes.
Every single day. And I think if everybody would learn to do that, even for themselves, even just how to connect, how to be a light of energy, how to be a pillar of energy. And so many of us can do that. We can help collectively so much. The world, the universe, the galaxy, whatever we want to call it, whatever quantum way we want to see it. It's, my heart chakra is hurting. Like an affirmation of truth for me. And that's just the thing. So obviously you're a Reiki master, and we're going to have to start winding down the call, but I want to get everybody to be able to be in touch with you if they want to come out to you. And I will post the information down below. But my point is, I think getting Reiki from somebody like yourself is always a good experience for different people, because it awakens part of them that maybe need the help and need the awakening or need the remembering. But for them to eventually learn that they are that light and that they can heal themselves, and then everybody can do it collectively to a certain degree. But sometimes we need to go to people like yourself that can help them get there, can be that step in the platform from them. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And meditation, like you said, we have to watch, we have to be like the guardians and the, you know, enhancers of our energy daily, you know. And meditation for me is a great tool to mesh with Reiki. And it's helped me so tremendously. And I think you said, where do you see this going ideally, or how do you see it being, you know, playing out? And I wish that, you know, there are communities that, like Dr. Joe Dispenza, he has one, the community he's built of people who are healing themselves using meditation and energy is just phenomenal. And I do credit his meditations for, you know, kind of getting me over to the other side of it. You know, people who are on this side and then get over the other side, they understand there's kind of like a before and after. And I think I'm like really on the brink of being over there and never going back. But yeah, so it's a community of people, of like-minded people who understand we're here to raise the vibration, to heal, to help each other, to love each other, and have a collective consciousness. That's my own, you know, concept of what I would love to see, and where I think there's a lot of people who are waking up and realizing there is so much more. Like, even when you mention the word, if you hear somebody mention the word aliens and life in outer space and things like that, my mind used to be so close to that. And then last week, the new space telescope pictures came out. Did you see those?
No, I was on the beach. I was on vacation having margaritas.
Yeah. Lucky you. Yeah. Well, this new, so like an upgrade to the Hubble telescope came out, and the pictures are phenomenal.
Really?
And so it's, you know, so to think that there's really, you know, other life out there is not so ridiculous, you know. And that's what I mean when I say people are waking up. I'm waking up. I've only believed in past lives now for less than 3 years, you know. So as long as you are on that path toward self-evolving and you know, creating your own best life, and you know, if we all can do that together, it'd be great.
Yeah,
you know.
And I think we're going there, and I think many of us are kind of like opening the doors. Okay, so let me say it this way, and I've said it before in other episodes. That is the reason I did this spirituality talk show. That is the reason I'm creating this platform. That is the reason for many of the other things that I do in my coaching. And I'm actually thinking of launching the magazine again, which is another topic. But all of the reason for doing all of that is because, number one, more people are awakening, and everybody's at a different level. Like I'm not even gonna say my whole backstory, but I've started this 25 years ago when nobody was talking about any of this. I was in all the metaphysical bookshops that I could find, getting information and reading and this and that on my own. Oh, I'll say this, on my own, I've seen past lives of mine, which have been fascinating and which makes sense to me because they're things that I am actually interested in this life. So it's like, okay, that makes sense. And we are going to have an actual, another expert on the show pretty soon that I already contacted him for our pre-talk. And he told me, he's like, you and I shared a past life together and you were blah, 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 blah. And the thing is, I had no way of not believing him because that was one of the past lives that I have seen.
Wow.
So I was like, there is, for me, I'm at a point that there is proof just coming at me from anywhere. And yet I am still learning. Like you just mentioned the whole thing about aliens. I have never not believed there are aliens out there. It's not even possible from a scientific point of view or a consciousness point of view that if we are one planet on a gazillion amount of galaxies and planets and universes that we probably can't even see. It doesn't, it's not logical for me in my brain to think nothing else can exist out there. To me, that's egocentric. To me, that's kind of like a really, we think we're all that the only thing that's alive in like gazillion galaxies and universes is little humans here. I doubt that. Maybe there are things we can't even see. And that's not even talking about different dimensions and parallel lives and as quantum and woo-woo as we can go. But yet I am still learning and connecting. And I think this is the first time I'm going to say it here. I am connecting to different star systems and different beings from different areas. And I actually talked to somebody the other day and I saw one of his fractals from and he confirmed it for me. So my whole rant is that the reason for this platform is because I want to create shows and episodes for everybody at every level that they're at. If they're just beginning to meditate, cool. If they want to talk about healing, cool. If they want to talk about, the latest star system that, is downloading channeled information and I just had a dream about, cool. Because everybody, I think, is awakening to the point that humanity is evolving and changing and spirituality is taking more of a form.
Yeah.
And it's been needed. And I think so many of us now, like yourself and other people that I have brought on the show, we're here to help others. Number one, understand their experience is normal. And number two, share our experience so others can learn.
Right. I mean, that's why I appreciate you doing this, so much, because you're giving other people the chance to share their knowledge, and then you're helping other people raise their vibration, raise their consciousness. And, I might just take you up on that idea of why don't you do your own podcast?
Okay, for the audience, we were talking about that before hitting record. She was thinking of maybe doing a podcast, but no, but yes, but no. And I kind of BS'd her out of her BS. So I am very glad you just said that. And it's just having fun. It really is, because the more, and it's energy, the more lighthearted and fun you make it, the more high vibrational experience people are going to have.
And exchanging positive energy is, that's, to me, that's a gift. It's priceless. The energy between us right now is just, it's beautiful, and these are the kinds of conversations I live for, and I met a gal about a little over a year ago, and we got into it really quickly about, she said something about, well, I can tell you've been through quite a bit, and that was just from having met me within like 12 hours. And immediately we went into, the anxiety, the agoraphobia and everything. And she goes, well, and I said something about, well, thanks for, asking. It's very rare when people want to go to that level of a conversation that quickly. And that's kind of where I'm at, like people are kind of overwhelmed with me sometimes, because I go right to I always want to talk about the soul stuff, the heavy stuff, the deep stuff. And she said to me, but those are the conversations that matter.
Yep.
And that really, really resonated with me. I didn't go to my class reunion last weekend because I want to have these kinds of conversations, not, oh, hi, what have you been up to? How have you been? And not that doesn't matter,
no.
and I, wish all my classmates well, but I'm not a great, well, I can make small talk, but this is my passion. I love having these conversations. So yeah, I think the podcast is a really good idea.
Everybody listening to this now, her contact information is below. So send her an email and ask her about her podcast by the time you listen to this. Talk about accountability publicly.
You are going to hold me to it.
You bet your little butt I am. Well, Michelle, thank you. This has been a blast. It's been a lot of fun. definitely thank you for the information on the Reiki, because again, more and more people are coming attuned to it. More and more people are hearing about it. The more we know what it is and we can share, the more they can actually go for it and try it for themselves, because it is an experience. It definitely is an experience that it's undescribable, because it's going to be different for everybody.
And it's nothing to be afraid of. It's
Yeah.
just energy. And if you don't feel anything, that's not wrong. You might, because the energy continues to work.
Mhm.
You know, sometimes people don't feel something right away, but then the next day or so, they may all of a sudden have an emotional release, you know, and it clears up blockages. It helps you focus. It helps with headaches. It helps with migraines. It helps with physical pain, everything. So, yeah.
So thank you so much. It has been a real pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. I'm so blessed that you asked me. Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. Anytime, and we will be talking soon.
All right.
Thank you, everybody, for watching, and I hope you stay tuned so that we can find out where and how her podcast is coming out. And make sure to contact her below. And everybody have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.